You slept 10 hours last night. You're still exhausted. Not sleepy. Not sick. Not sad, exactly. Just heavy. Like you're carrying something invisible. Something that has no name. You go through the motions. You smile when expected. You answer, "I'm fine." But somewhere behind the mask, there's a version of you sitting in a dark room, not crying, not screaming, just sitting, too tired to do either. This isn't depression. This isn't laziness. This is a biological siege protocol your brain activates when the cost of being alive exceeds your emotional budget. And science has a name for it. In 1994, neuroscientist Stephen Porges introduced the polyvagal theory, a framework that changed how we understand the human nervous system. Most people know about fight or flight. When danger appears, your body either attacks or runs. But Porges discovered a third response, one that's older, deeper, and far more devastating. The dorsal vagal shutdown. When your brain determines that fighting is useless and running is impossible, it doesn't panic. It shuts down. Heart rate drops. Muscles go slack. Emotions flatten. The body enters a state of functional freeze. You're alive, but operating at minimum power. Like a phone on low battery mode. The screen is dim. The apps are closed. Only the bare essentials are running. This isn't a malfunction. This is a 200-million-year-old survival mechanism. It evolved in reptiles. When a lizard is caught by a predator, it doesn't fight. It plays dead. It conserves every last calorie in case there's one more chance to escape. Your body does the same thing. When emotional demands exceed emotional resources, month after month, year after year, your nervous system doesn't break. It retreats. You don't stop caring because you're weak. You stop caring because your brain decided that caring costs more than you can afford. But the shutdown isn't the worst part. The worst part is what you do to hide it. Researchers at the University of Texas found something that explains why emotionally exhausted people feel even more drained after social interaction. It's called emotional labor. When you suppress what you actually feel and perform an emotion you don't, your brain burns glucose at a significantly higher rate. The prefrontal cortex works over time to maintain the illusion, smiling when you're empty, laughing when you're numb, saying, "I'm fine," when every cell in your body is screaming, "I'm drowning." This performance isn't free, it's a metabolic tax. And here's the cruel paradox. The more exhausted you are, the more you perform. Because the last thing an exhausted person can afford is for someone to notice. So you build the mask stronger. You make the performance flawless. And the world says, "You seem fine." Meanwhile, your nervous system is running a deficit. Think of your emotional capacity as a bank account. Every demand, work, relationships, expectations, self-criticism, is a withdrawal. Rest, connection, meaning, those are deposits. When withdrawals exceed deposits for long enough, you don't just go broke, you go insolvent. And insolvency doesn't look like a breakdown. It looks like a person who stopped laughing 3 months ago, and nobody noticed. So your body is in shutdown. Your mind is bankrupt from performing. But there's a final mechanism that makes this trap feel permanent. And it's the reason most people can't think their way out. When the dorsal vagal shutdown persists for months, something changes in the brain's chemistry. The reward system begins to atrophy. Dopamine receptors downregulate. Serotonin production drops. The brain's ability to experience pleasure, a function neuroscientists call hedonic capacity, starts to erode. This is anhedonia, the inability to feel joy, not sadness, the absence of feeling entirely. Imagine a room with no windows. The first day, you miss the sunlight. The second week, you stop looking for it. After a month, You forget what sunlight feels like. Your brain does the same thing with joy. When you spend long enough avoiding pain, numbing yourself, performing, surviving, your brain doesn't just block the negative emotions, it blocks all of them. Pain and joy travel through overlapping neural circuits. You cannot selectively numb one without dimming the other. This is why people who are tired of living don't feel sad. They feel nothing. And nothing is heavier than sadness. Because sadness still means you care. Nothing means the caring system itself has gone offline. So if you feel this, if you wake up exhausted after 10 hours of sleep, if smiling takes effort, if you're not sad, just empty, know this: you are not lazy. Your nervous system pulled the emergency brake because you exceeded your emotional budget. You are not cold. Your brain shut down the feeling system because the cost of feeling became too high. You are not broken. You are a masterpiece of adaptation, stuck in winter. And winter doesn't last forever. Not because the cold decides to leave, but because somewhere, deep underneath the frost, something is still alive, still waiting, still breathing. Same brain, different season. The exhaustion you carry is not your identity. It's your nervous system's way of saying, it's time to stop performing and start healing. If you're carrying this weight, you are not alone. If this helped you understand what's happening inside you, subscribe. Because every week, we decode the neuroscience behind the feelings nobody else explains. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of self-harm, please reach out to a mental health professional or crisis helpline. You deserve support.